Facebook post.
Oh, he's in now, the whiny bastard? Jesus Christ.
I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's unhappy that it's on.
He said he can't find it on YouTube. Why is it not on Facebook? He's having a conniption.
It's there. I put it in the bump and run thing. It's just I can't. I don't know if you don't see the clips very often.
I don't see it.
But some of them. So the last 2 weeks I've been doing it on YouTube, and they've been fine, and they actually look better. When I've been pulling it before that, when I was pulling them off Facebook, like my mouth would be moving or your mouth is moving, and then 2 seconds later the sound, and I fucking hate that. It's embarrassing. So I just.
I don't know why he can't find it though. Like Mac found it no problem last week.
That's what I'm saying. It's no problem. It's on. I put the link. The link is there on Facebook, and he did like it, so he knows where it is now.
Okay,
I think that day he just wasn't home. I think he said he didn't.
Yeah, he wasn't. He couldn't log in or whatever.
Log in or something. So I think we'll be all right. I don't think the hardest thing in the world is to find a link on YouTube. It's one of the easier things these days, don't you think?
Peter, don't get me started.
I'm not going to get you started. I'm not going to do that.
Thank
Are you ready to go?
Ready to go?
I think we're all ready to go.
You got the golf on here? What a beautiful course, bro.
I do. Oh, my God. We can talk about that a little bit, too, if you want to.
Sure. Anytime you want to talk golf, I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here we go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasano, joined, as always, by my good friend and NFC South aficionado, Mr. Scott Bracey. What is going on, dude?
Not too much, Peter. How are you? We are getting closer and closer to football.
God. I could feel it. I put out a video last week from a scrimmage. That was fun. It just gave you this feel of football. There's just football all around. I even had a video from an Instagram video from a South Jersey NFL flag football tryouts. And it's just neat to see because there's like a lot of options now. When you and I were younger, especially me, but like it wasn't any different when you were younger. There was tackle football, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, like maybe as an adult you were able to play flag. Maybe I did.
Yeah,
but not for kids. And now, like I said, my girlfriend's son, he plays all year basically. So he plays tackle in the fall, but he also plays flag in the fall. Then he plays flag indoors in the winter.
Wow.
And then flag in the spring.
12?
He's 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and he's been playing since he's 5.
Does he play anything else or just football?
Just football, pretty much, yeah. He likes soccer too, but he doesn't play it organized. So
gotcha.
It's just cool. It's nice to see, but when you're there and football's starting and it's like there's just and even the last couple days it's been a little cooler in the morning.
In the morning it's
so it almost just
it's like you're going to football. It's like you're going to camp again. It's I know it's like you get the smell.
It feels like football. So
this morning I got to my office like 7:15. Guys cutting the grass. You get out of the truck. I'm like,
yeah. It's
like you got this. It's like I
went to work. So when I leave to work in the summer, I usually leave here around like 6:30. And this week when I left to go to work, Jesus Christ, like I need a goddamn sweatshirt on the way. Now it warms up and it's in the 70s and stuff like that. But still, it's like it has that crisp fall feel. It just feels like football. There's just everywhere you turn, there's football. And certainly what we're going to be doing this week, we got the NFC South. Before we get into any of that, I wanted to throw this out. Let's see what kind of reaction we get. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to throw a poll out there. Okay, so you can answer the poll by going on Spotify. The poll will be on the link to this particular episode. What the hell is this? 148. Okay, so who do you think is going to win? We're going to tell you what we think about the NFC South, but who do you think is going to win the NFC South? Do you think it'll be Carolina, Atlanta, Tampa, or New Orleans? So that poll will be on Spotify for you to answer that for us. Love to hear your feedback on that. So we always love when we get a little fan interaction.
Absolutely, we do.
Yeah.
Let's dive right in.
One of the things I wanted to bring up before we get to the NFC South, I don't know, I'm assuming you saw or heard the comments by Mr. Tua Tagovailoa about Mr. Brian Flores, former coach. You did hear that?
I did.
For those in the audience, I'm going to play it right now, Scotty. I don't think you're going to hear this, but I'm just going to, it's real quick. Here we go. All right, so he goes into, the whole thing. This is what the coach was saying to me. You're terrible. You don't deserve this. We wanted somebody else, all that kind of stuff. And, called Flores a terrible person. The terrible person thing, I don't know if he really meant that he was a terrible person. He's just spitting this out off the top of his head. I don't know if he was just saying terrible person or if he just wanted to say you're hearing these terrible things from a person.
Right.
I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack on that because when you're just rolling and rambling like that, it can come out a little funky. This wasn't like a planned speech of his. So I don't know that he means that Flores is a terrible person or he just said terrible things to him or things that he didn't like. So I'm going to leave that part of it as like whatever. He's just rambling. But before I get into it, what were your thoughts either initially or after you thought about it for a little while about this?
Well, we were coached back in the day. We were coached. There was criticism. We weren't in the baby system back then. There was no feelings. The Aaron Boone School of Managing, where you got to go to the press conference and kiss everybody's ass, and he did a great job, even though he gave up 5 runs in the two-thirds of an inning and all that crap. There was none of that in my coaching, you included, and in my household, in the locker room. It was honest. If you did good, you did good. If you did bad, you heard about it.
Right.
It's very hard to distinguish what he means by bad person. Like, what kind of names, what, we don't know. He didn't really go into that much detail other than you're a bad player, this and that. But listen, to me, that's nothing. And now Tua coming in years later now and bringing this up, like.
Well, I think he was asked. In fairness to him, he was asked. What's the difference between now and then?
Take the high road.
High road is 100% right. Yeah. In a minute, I'm going to tell you why I think take the high road. I don't want to be too nitpicky on this, but like he said, like if you heard this every day, you would start to believe it, either good or bad. You would start to believe it, and I'm just like, is this the first time this guy, like to your point, in a way, like is this the first time that this guy's ever been like coached hard or like talked down to?
Well, no, you played for Nick Saban.
Played for Nick Saban.
Yeah, I know.
Like I could be wrong. Like I don't want to put something out there that I'm not sure of. I almost did. I don't want to do that because I'm not 100% sure. I thought he was coached by his old man. I thought he was coached by his dad.
In high school?
He wasn't. Yeah.
That sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know. I can't lock that in either.
If that's true, I'm gonna go way out on a limb and say his dad coached him pretty much.
By the way, you ever see what his dad looked like? That guy's holding no punches back, bro.
Right. Like, so I gotta believe between Nick Saban and your dad or whoever your high school coach was. I don't know too many soft ass high school coaches for football. They have no one to answer to.
And right? Samoan guys, are you out of your mind?
Yeah, come on, dude. I mean, Jesus. I have a hard time believing you just start to. I was coached hard my entire life.
Yeah.
I got hammered by Coach Antilli, and I love the guy to this day for it, frankly. And he coached me twice. He was my quarterback's coach in football, and he was the head coach of basketball. So I got him back-to-back seasons, and he would hammer me all the time. And I look at that and I say, thank you.
Yeah.
Like he drove me hard, made me strive, made me work harder all the freaking time. I'm just having a hard time swallowing that some football player suddenly, as a pro, can't handle being talked to.
Oh, what?
Talked down to.
5 years he's in the league now?
Break.
Yeah, this is
okay. So I got a little bit of an issue with him saying that, and also an issue with him saying, if it happened to you every day, you'd start to believe it. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Most people I know who play football. Now, this is not the same in every sport. Basketball is a little different. You get a little sensitive. Baseball, I don't know. But in football, everybody gets coached hard. Everybody gets shit on. Okay? And you kind of just get used to it. You learn to just take from it what the coach is telling you. It's an unbelievably violent sport played by violent people. So it's going to be, you and I, you watch it more than me, but we watch Hard Knocks. Could they say fuck any more times? And the reason they're saying it is because everybody's tense and ready to go and fired up. And suddenly he was a little mean every day, and I didn't like how it made me feel. Maybe you sucked and were like a pussy and were getting hurt all the time and weren't playing very well.
Correct.
So that's that part of it. the thing that's like I wrote down here, like when he says everybody would start to believe it. You think Tom Brady didn't get coached hard by Bill Belichick? Tom Brady went 18 years without Belichick even saying like good job.
Yeah, Lloyd Carr told him to transfer at Michigan. He goes, I don't think this is for you, Tom.
Yeah, you know what that does with most athletes? It pushes
fires them up. Yeah.
But actually, to me, this is like a bad look. It's just a.
I agree totally. Yep.
And here's why I think it's even worse. You better make the playoffs this year, and you better win a playoff game. Because if you don't, then you've done nothing more than you did with Brian Flores, and you chewed the guy out. I feel so good with Coach Mike. I feel so good with this, and I feel so. And yet your results still are the same. You suck at the end of the season. You suck in cold weather. You suck in the fourth quarter, and you suck in the playoffs. Like that's what it boils down to. You guys have destroyed bad teams. You suck against good teams. You suck in December and January. You suck in the playoffs. If you don't change that, nobody's gonna give a shit. I actually think you put more of a target on his back because like I feel better. I'm doing better. I'm playing better.
He drew more attention to himself. This is what he did, and now all eyes are going to be on him. And with a questionable Jets team, old quarterback, questionable coaching staff, a bad New England team, and a rebuilding kind of weird Bills team, all eyes on Miami, bro. Good job. Good job.
If you don't make the playoffs, or if you go in, same thing, come in second in division and lose.
Go to Cincinnati, lose by 15.
What's the difference? What is the difference? Because you accumulated more yards. You also have like two guys that run like 4.240s on your team. So I'm not impressed.
Two, like four, like five.
I'm just saying, like you got Waddle and Hill.
A-Chain, the guy that just.
I'm not impressed. And you play really well at home, and you really play really well against bad teams. Who doesn't? So I think that was you said earlier you should have taken a high road. You really should have. Now, if you're Joe Burrow. If you're Patrick Mahomes, if you were Tom Brady, if you were even Aaron Rodgers, frankly, you can get a little, I don't know, you can get a little mouthy because you've accomplished. But you have not accomplished in Miami anything more than you ever with Mike McDaniel, anything more than you ever did with Brian Flores.
Right.
And now what you told everybody is, I'm going to now, and you got paid. You got paid like one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. So now not only you said this, but now you're a $55 million a year quarterback, and you're not going to make the playoffs. But what are you going to do? His contract doesn't even kick in this year. He's only $9 million against the Bucs this year. Kicks in $59 million next year. You can't keep everybody when your quarterback's making $50 million more than he is this year. So you better make it happen this year. And if they don't, I know you say you got questions about the Jets, but that's still a top 5 defense. Aaron Rodgers is still a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Garrett Wilson is still on track to have an unbelievable career. We'll leave it at that. Reese Hall is still fantastic. They still have, if healthy, PFF ranked them top 5 offensive line in the league.
Don't defend them. Take the underwear off. They haven't been in the playoffs in fucking 12.
No, I'm just saying, like, don't make it like
blowing them yet until they start doing something.
Shut up. Don't make it like this should just be a cakewalk. But you, Mr. Tagovailoa, put the mark out there saying this is so much better a situation now. And we'll then prove it. Then prove it.
And we will find out.
We will find out.
NFC South we go.
Let's go.
Last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the division, followed by the Saints, the Falcons, and the awful Carolina Panthers. Let's start with the Carolina Panthers. They added wide receiver Deontay Johnson with a trade from the Steelers. They lost defensive end Brian Burns and tight end Aiden Hurst. They drafted Xavier Legette from South Carolina with the last pick of the first round. And they drafted Jonathan Brooks from Texas, running back, in the second round. He tore his ACL halfway through the year last year, and I think he's working his way back. I don't think he's 100% there just yet, but I like him. He's a good player. They need weapons for Bryce Young. Not a great rookie campaign. Highlighted games, September 29th, host the Bengals.
Do you know their first game of the season?
Oh, shit. I thought I did. No, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, go ahead.
November 24th, they host the Chiefs, and December 8th, they go to Philadelphia.
I think this is going to be an improved team. I'll say much improved, but that is very relative. How many games did they win last year? 2, 3?
Yeah, 2.
1.
And then they don't even get rewarded by having the first pick because they traded it the year before.
Right. Could you imagine you basically traded Caleb Williams for Bryce Young?
Right. Yep. Exactly what you did.
That's what happens when you have no patience whatsoever. Let me see what they got here. Week 1. We got Carolina at New Orleans. New Orleans is -3.5. That's a winnable game.
Wow, that is a win. That is a winnable
right off the bat. Okay, we'll get into that in a little bit. I think this is going to be an improved team. I think if they won 2 or 3 games last year, I could see them winning 6. I think they might surprise some teams. I think both of us actually liked Bryce Young coming out of college as a player. Neither one of us really liked his size. We had issues with his size, and I still do.
Yep.
But there's talent there. There's clearly vision, ability to read defenses, anticipation, all that kind of stuff, and I liked it all. They can protect him a little more. He's undersized. They should be investing wholeheartedly in offensive line, tight ends, running backs. Those should be your priorities. Get a running game going and have some outlets for him as a quarterback. If you remember when we first started this podcast for our first couple of years, we were talking about what Carolina was doing with the draft and how many defensive players they had drafted.
Yeah, with Matt Rule.
Matt Rule. I suspect that those defensive players are going to start playing significantly better.
Ryan Burns being one of them, and now he's gone.
He's gone, yeah. In a weaker division, we'll say, I suspect Carolina will be improved this year. I could see them winning. I would think the ceiling is probably 8 games. I would think it'd be more like 6 or 7, but I can see them winning as many as 8 games.
If they don't, let's say they go 4-13, do they go quarterback shopping?
That's a really good question. It all depends on how that looks. How does the season look? If you watch,
are they losing 31-28 at the end of the game,
right,
or are they losing 24-3?
You're the Jets, Zach Wilson. You can't score.
Right.
It looks terrible.
It looks terrible, right?
And you're like, we need somebody else. I'm trying to think of who. Okay, so last year, like Kyler Murray, Arizona couldn't win a game. They didn't win many games, but he looked fine. He looked really. In fact, we talked about how refocused he looked. So record is deceiving when it comes to, or could be deceiving when it comes to, are you getting a new quarterback or not? Chicago played really well defensively down the stretch last year. They played decently as a team down the stretch last year. Did they keep their quarterback? No. What does he look like? How does he look? That'll be it. But it wouldn't surprise me if they're bad and he's bad. I definitely would. And plus, you have a very impulsive owner over there.
Oh,
so I wouldn't put it past them at all to do that. So
let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, intriguing.
Our pal Baker Mayfield. They added linebacker Randy Gregory and wide receiver Sterling Shepard. I don't know what
didn't they cut Randy Gregory?
Did they? They cut him already?
Cut him in the last
wow.
Days.
Yeah. Oh, I missed that one. I don't know what Sterling Shepard's going to give you at this point either way.
I just bring that up. I wasn't trying to dump on you. You're bringing his name up because that was kind of supposed to be an important signing, and he's just such a hot pile of mess.
It's crazy.
They fucking cut him.
Denver, San Fran, Tampa, they all caught him in the last couple of years.
A lot of weed.
Lost star linebacker Devin White.
I think that one hurts.
Yeah, we like him a lot.
Yep.
They drafted guard tackle out of Duke, Graham Barton, first pick, 26th overall. Edge, Chris Braswell out of Alabama in the second round, 57th overall. Sneaky good player here. I like this guy a lot out of Washington. He was the third receiver at the Huskies.
Yes, I am.
Jalen McMillan.
Yep.
Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are not getting any younger out there. I think that's a really good sneaky pick. And then a guy I like a lot, running back Bucky Irving from Oregon in the 4th round.
I'm not trying to put some kind of tag on him like he's going to be this guy, but you remember we talked, I think it was last week or maybe it was the week before, we were talking about how Justin Jefferson wasn't even the first or maybe the second best receiver coming out of college from LSU.
Yeah.
And now you look what he does.
Sure.
Sometimes it takes you being separated from other great players, and suddenly your team counts on you more, relies on you more, leans on you more, and it's like, oh shit, where'd this guy come from? But you kind of, you spotted him coming into the draft this year. You're like, I just like him. There's so much.
Yeah.
We shall see. I think it's a good spot for him right there.
Notable games, September 15th at the Detroit Lions. September 29th, they host the Eagles, and November 4th, they go to Arrowhead and play the Chiefs.
Yeah, my biggest concern, obviously Baker Mayfield is not a question mark, but
I don't know how. Well, listen, we both like Baker's edge, but
I think we root for Baker.
Edge, we do, and is the edge a little softer now? Little contract?
I'm not sure because he's well underpaid compared to other quarterbacks, so that might be his little chip on the shoulder. Like, oh man, I'm making 30, and these guys are making 60. Maybe that's how he looks at it.
Well, mentally,
these guys all find a way to get a chip on their shoulder, one way or another.
And listen, he's not these other guys, but to motivate yourself, that's a good way of looking at it. I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a bit of a question mark, but to me, the biggest question mark is the head coach, Todd Bowles. I just do not trust him as a head coach. I love him as a defensive coordinator, but I don't trust him as a head coach. I don't think he has strong enough personality to really drive a team when it needs to be. There's all kinds of reasons for it, but sometimes a team just needs to be pushed, and I don't know that he's that kind of coach.
Well,
so that's the biggest question mark for me.
I understand where you're going. Won a playoff game, almost went to Detroit and beat them too.
They played very well there.
They played very well there. Crazy. I mean, Lions hosting a playoff game, and then for Baker to go in there and almost win that game. They have pieces. I just don't know how much depth they have either.
That's true.
They just re-signed the tackle, Tristan Wirfs. They gave him a big payday. They lost their OC, now the head coach at Carolina. So that's that might take a bit of a hit for Baker too. So sure. I don't know. I like them still because the division is very soft, but I don't know if they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's
not to give away my picks or anything.
Questions. Yeah, I just started looking at my list.
Yeah, what do you have here, sir?
So yeah, I have questions. Look, well, obviously they were right on the cusp last year of not making the playoffs, and I don't know that enough has changed for them to either be that much better or, frankly, that much worse. I think they're right around 9-8. I think their ceiling is probably 9 or 10 games. Can't imagine them winning more than that. I don't know why. Why would it be that much different? Not enough has changed for me to suddenly think they're a 10 or 11 win team. That's just crazy. Right. So I think the floor for them could be 6, and the ceiling could be 9. So that's the range I'm looking at. I don't think they're bad enough to be a 4 or 5 win team. Obviously, we always have the caveat that we're talking about relatively injury free, no monster injuries, but it's just Todd Bowles. Football coaches are dead. You know what's funny? If he was a baseball manager, I think he'd be perfect because he's so friggin' even keeled. He doesn't, 182 games, nothing ever seems to bother him. He never lets anything get to him. He just kind of keep going. We got a long season. It's a long grind. He'd be perfect for baseball, but for
good
football,
point. Yeah,
I just would like to see
he's
more.
Yeah, he's fucking Buck Showalter, Dusty.
I think
Baker.
We get more emotional doing this podcast than he gets emotional on a fucking sideline of a football game, and he's the damn head coach.
I think you're right, bud. To the Atlanta Falcons. Big acquisition at quarterback Kirk Cousins, wide receiver Darnell Mooney, just recently in the last week and a half, linebacker Matthew Judon and safety Justin Simmons.
Yep. Big.
Justin Simmons is my old safety. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. He was starting to look really old at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And they added and now subtracted wide receiver Rondell Moore. He's out for the year with a broken leg already. So that stinks. I liked him coming in this year too. They lost wide receiver / running back Cordero Patterson and quarterback Desmond Ridder, your old friend from Cincinnati. Good night,
He's
Irene.
off the team? He's gonzo?
Gone. I think he's gone.
Is he even on another team?
I think he is. Look that up real quick, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Keep going.
They drafted future, well, I don't love this guy as much as you do, but future star, I put in quotes, quarterback Michael Penix out of Washington.
Oh, I love him. How do you not?
I don't love him.
You're
because I saw him get dismantled by an NFL defense. So it's just
Oh
not.
my God. It's one game. He also destroyed Oregon twice.
This is
shit on USC. Caleb Williams.
I know.
Outplayed him 3 times in 2 years.
I like the kid. I just think of Michael Penix from Indiana. I don't know. It's like weird.
Arizona Cardinals, Desmond Ridder.
There you go. Thank you. His teammate at Washington, edge Brandon Trice in the 3rd round, and a running back from Alabama in the 6th round, who I think could be another sneaky guy, Jace McClellan. Notable games: September 22nd versus the Chiefs. November 3rd versus the Cowboys. That'll be a fun game, I think. And December 1st, they host the Chargers. I think December 1st, we'll see what's going on with both teams here, Chargers and Falcons.
Oh, yeah.
If Chargers are improving or the Falcons hanging on, treading water, improving, not improving, I think that's a really good, a scope game right there for both teams.
Absolutely. Interesting. Yeah, obviously, Kirk Cousins is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Atlanta and what they did in the offseason. That was huge, and I think it was the right thing to do. And while, I don't know, I think this is like a coin toss split between most people. I like the draft pick of taking Michael Penix. I say this all the time. We expect, or maybe fans in our heads are too hopeful for rookies and what they're going to deliver. If Michael Penix sits for a year or 2 years, who cares? He'll be ready to go, and he'll be fantastic. Whether I don't know, for whatever reasons you don't love him so much, what you can't deny is he has a good arm, he has excellent anticipation, he has excellent accuracy, and he's relatively mobile. Not as mobile as some, but relatively mobile.
Yeah.
So I love it because it's a future pick. And how many teams in this league, including the Jets who have Aaron Rodgers, but you look around the league, how many teams every year are looking for a franchise quarterback? Now you have one that can play now, that is aging, and you have your pick for the future. I think that's big. But if I could say anything about what I think this season will look like for Atlanta that'll be different from last year, Bijan Robinson. I don't know how many times we came on this podcast and talked about how in this particular game or that particular game, Robinson only touched the ball 4 times or 2 times. And in the games that he touches it 22 times, he has a total of 200 total yards receiving and rushing. It's like they win the game. I think that mistake will not be made again this year. I think you're going to see Bijan Robinson, especially Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is so smart as a quarterback. He's no dummy. If I'm getting pressured, dump the ball off to this fucking guy and let him use his magical legs to do what he does. So I think what you'll see this year, maybe more than anything different, obviously Kirk Cousins is different, but what you'll see more than anything different is that you'll see Bijan Robinson touching the ball anywhere from 15, don't be shocked when I say it, anywhere from 15 to 30 times a game.
Yep.
Depending on that game and how it's going and whether it's a run-centric, pass-centric game, that'll change from week to week. But anywhere from 50, you'll never see him touch the ball less than 15 times a game. I promise you this year. I promise you. Unless he gets hurt, you won't see that.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll be the biggest thing.
They were a mess last year with that.
And that Judon pick, his defense was improved last year. You know, we know Atlanta's defense being bad for a while now, but that defense was greatly improved last year. Missing one thing, and that was an edge rusher, and now they got that. Whether he's great or not, I don't know that he has to be great. It just has to be better than what it was, and then I think the rest of your defense looks better. You know, we say this, you and I say this all the time, like if you have great pass rushers, your D-backs look better. If you have excellent D-backs, then your pass rushers look better. Correct. So you're helping the rest of the defense by getting pressure on the opposing quarterback.
And what do you call it? Defensive head coach. Raheem Morris too, right?
Yeah, I think. Look, we talked about this with Washington. What the hell's his name? Dan Quinn.
Yep.
I think most defensive head coaches are seeing, are learning that you can't play it tight. You can't. Most defensive coaches want to play it tight. They want to run the ball. They don't want mistakes. They want a close game. They don't want the other team getting extra possession, so they don't take as many risks. I think we're starting to see, like, if you look down in Houston, you look around the league at some of the guys that are we will call defensive coaches, they're learning like let your OCs do what they do.
Yeah.
You have to. That's the league, man. You got to score points. You got to put, especially when you have these young quarterbacks and cheap guys on the cheap. You got to let it rip sometimes, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. So I'm hopeful that we'll see the same thing here. Remember also, Raheem Morris, this is the second time around as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He had a brief stint with Tampa a few years back. So, I'm hoping he learned his lesson and understands you got to let these guys go, man. You got to let it's an offensive league. You got to let them play. You're not a defensive head coach. You're the head coach. Got to let them play.
New Orleans Saints.
Mm.
They added defensive end Chase Young, another guy that's been on a lot of teams lately. Great rookie year, and he's full off the face of the earth here.
Yeah.
They lost wide receiver Michael Thomas, who another guy that's a couple injuries, and he fell off the wagon too.
Yep, gone.
Quarterback Jameis Winston, who we love and adore. He's a sound clip every time. He's fantastic to listen to. Tight end Jimmy Graham, who I think is older than you. He's finally out of New Orleans.
Hey, I feel like that was a dig at me.
It was not. It was a dig at him. Draft.
Hair? Is that my hair? Is that the giveaway?
No.
Or the beard? Which one?
Draft from Alabama, Kool-Aid McKinstry, second round. Guy you dropped in the draft for a reason.
Good.
And a quarterback that we kind of like, a little bit of a roller coaster career in college. Quarterback Spencer Rattler from South Carolina.
Interesting, yeah.
Word out of New Orleans is he looks good, really good.
Yeah, well, he's got two things going for him. He's got a cannon for an arm, and he's pretty mobile. And I think maybe he was humbled a little bit leaving Oklahoma because he did play pretty well.
Yeah.
Sometimes at South Carolina, which is not always easy to do.
Correct.
So maybe he ate a little humble pie, realized you can't just do this off of your natural gifts. Like you got to put the work in.
I feel like he's a little Baker Mayfield in him.
Yeah. His Mayfieldism probably came a little later. It probably came at Oklahoma when he got like benched for Caleb Williams. I think it was for Caleb Williams, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Yeah. So it can be humbling, and you got to decide: do you want to walk or do you want to get better? And I feel like he took the steps to get better. So he's a little undersized, which makes me nervous, but he's got some real qualities that you would want in an NFL quarterback.
3 notable games. September 22nd, they host the Eagles. Those damn Chiefs again. October 7th at Kansas City. And a little Christmas Eve game at the Packers, which should be fun.
Yeah, this is a team, New Orleans, who has been fighting the salary cap struggle for the last couple of years because this goes back to the Drew Brees years. The last couple of years with Drew Brees, they kept trying to make a run, one more run, and they were pushing some of these salaries down the road, and now they're struggling because of it. Sooner or later, you got to pay the piper. Even the Rams, for years we were like the Rams are very top heavy. They're all their money is locked up in the top players, and then for the last couple of years, they shot. Even though they did really well last year, it wasn't the same. I think New Orleans is in that spot now. I think they're just. I think it's going to be a bit of a slog this year. I know you don't like Derek Carr. I like him a little more than you.
Oof.
But I have to even acknowledge that he didn't play well last year. And I just don't like Dennis Allen as a head coach. Second time around for him. I think he's not great. I think he's a pretty decent defensive coordinator. Some people think everybody has a ceiling, dude. Everybody has a ceiling. Nobody starts. Not everybody can be an astronaut and go to the moon. So I don't think he's a good head coach. And I think they're going to struggle this year. It's going to be a tough go for New Orleans.
In order for me, in fourth place, I have the Carolina Panthers. I don't like their offense. I don't think Bryce Young has enough weapons around him. I do think he will be improved. He will look like he knows what he's doing a little bit more. I just know how many points they're going to score. And those guys from that defense that they drafted 4 years ago, some of them are gone. And
third coach in 3 years too, like third head coach, third offensive coordinator in 3 years. I never liked that.
Yep, it's not a great start. In third place, I have the Saints. I think their defense will keep them in some games. Home field advantage is great. Carr's not great, but he finds a way sometimes to pull something out of his ass.
There, it's not like he's lacking talent. It's
so weird.
It's almost like he's scared to pull the trigger sometimes. I don't know.
In second place, I have the Bucks. I do think, like I said before, I don't know if they make the playoffs, but I think they'll be right there, 9-8. maybe 10-7. I don't know what. You never know. Again, Baker. Does he have those 4 interception games still in him, or has he calmed that down? We'll see. Long in the tooth at wide receiver. Lost some defensive guys, so we'll see. In first place, I have the Falcons. I just think this team is very, very well put together.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, if he comes back healthy, it might take a little bit to get cooking. But I think in that division, I think you have time to adjust. I don't think it's a very powerful division, obviously.
Yeah.
I think Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, I think Cousins will find them. I think they'll be really good. And like you said, now with Judon and Simmons, that defense gets a little bit better, a little bit more leadership, a little bit more, even depth. Someone that was on it now, a guy coming off the bench there. So I think the Falcons take the division.
I'm with you on Atlanta. I think talent-wise and quarterback-wise, they're heads and tails above everybody else. If you really break it down like position by position, they're better at every position than everybody else in their division. And if they don't win this division, it's disaster. This is not hot seat talk, but it's Raheem Morris immediately next season goes on a hot seat. Like if they were to go 7-10 or something like that, I just can't picture it. But if they did, he's immediately on a hot seat next year. Like with all those talented players, a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yep.
You just can't have it. And they made trades to boost the defense up. Just can't have it. But I got Atlanta winning this division. I actually got them going away with it. I could see them winning 11, 12 games this year. I think there's 6 wins right there in the division that they probably should have, at least go 5-1, depending. And I would suspect that week 18, which is game 17 for them, they won't have any starters on the field.
Yep.
I really do believe. I'll even go this far because I've been talking about ceiling for each of these teams. I think there's a chance, mainly because of their division and secondarily because of the talent on the team. I think there's a chance that they could be the number 1 seed in the NFC. I don't know that they
look at you.
I don't know that they deserve to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. I'm just thinking when you take into consideration schedule, division,
I got you.
All that stuff. I think there's a chance they could be the number 1 seed, and that would be fucking fascinating. That would be fascinating.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm probably demented here, and I'm going to get crushed for this, but I'm putting Carolina in second place.
What the fuck are you on, dude? Goodness gracious.
I know. I think they're going to be improved. I think Bryce Young will play well. I don't think they're good.
Scotty, I don't like 3 coaches in offense coordinators.
I know, it's total hypocrite.
What? Second place. All right.
What? Hypocrite.
Oh, my God. Who is your dealer, and what are you guys doing down there? What?
So duplicitous. I am such a hypocrite. I know, but I think that pick is more of a condemnation on the other 2 teams than it is me boosting up Carolina. I still think they're like a 9-win max team. I think they're more like 7-8 wins, but I think the rest of the 2 teams are not great. I have Tampa in third, very close behind Carolina. I could see them overcoming them, but I'm giving you a little something. I don't know. I just see a little something. You know what it is? You know this from gambling. When everybody's on one end, I
don't know what you're talking about.
Go to the other end, right? So I'm just going. Everybody, Carolina's still going to stink because they stunk last year. Fuck that. I think they're going to be better. You said something when you were giving your list about Baker Mayfield. Hey, does he have the 4 interception games, or is he more stable? Is he settled in? I think you're going to get both. I think you get the wild ass hair Baker Mayfield who does dumb shit sometimes because. It's a positive quality, in my opinion, that he never gives up. He tries to make chicken salad out of chicken shit sometimes. And sometimes you just got to throw it away or take the sack or take a, slide or whatever.
Yeah.
And it costs them sometimes. And I think it'll cost them this year too. And I got New Orleans in last. I could see them winning 4 or 5 games this year. I think it'd be pretty rough. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dennis Allen was the first coach fired this year. I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in December they're out of the playoffs. They're 4-9. I could see them saying it's time to go.
Carr gets benched. They give Spencer Rattler a shot, something like that. Yeah.
Why not? Right? Yeah. So that's my thinking. For everybody listening, our poll today: who wins the NFC South? Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How about the Buccaneers? Or the New Orleans Saints? Check it out on Spotify. The poll will be up there on Spotify, and let us know what you think. By the way, did you see about that trade that took place? I think today
with the Eagles and the Commanders.
Yeah,
very odd. Very odd.
In division, like Dotson's
on August 22nd,
dude.
My buddy at work told me that he was having an awful camp. He couldn't catch a cold out there, so I don't know.
Suddenly can't catch. I think there's more to it than that.
There has to be, right?
There's got to be some personality clashes. Kingsbury must look at it as like this, maybe tripping too much around the quarterback.
I also heard a rumor too, maybe Mr. Ayuk on his way to Washington.
That would be fascinating, but you would think they might want to send Dotson back to San Fran because the rumors were that San Fran wanted somebody back.
I think they want picks now. I think they kind of changed their.
That would be fascinating.
Ex-college teammates Ayuk and Daniel Daniels at
Arizona State.
Oh, good.
Almost blew it. You know what's interesting about that is that I think both of us kind of like Dotson coming out of college, but I think we would both have to acknowledge that he underperformed a little bit.
Been a disappointment. I know the Commanders have had bad quarterback play, but McLaurin's playing okay with it. So I mean,
he's fantastic. I like him a lot. I like McLaurin a lot. So yeah, he's been a little disappointed. It just was interesting to me. I was like, damn. And not just that they traded him, but that they traded him in division. Like how little do you think of a guy that you sent into a division rival? Like you're not thinking he's gonna. Oh, this will come back and haunt us.
Agreed.
Agreed. Like I mean, if they got a third round, maybe a third and a seventh, and they gave up a fifth. Like it was Dotson and a fifth for a third and a seventh that they got back. So it was a first round draft pick that now you get a third and a seventh for, and you had to give up a fifth just to get him out of the building. So I just think it's fascinating. I get the sense that either we're going to hear some more about that, and I'm curious to see how Dotson responds to it. You know what I mean? Some guys I look at like a Chase Claypool who left Pittsburgh and was an absolute POS for the Chicago Bears. Didn't do Justin Fields any favors. Now I just got cut now by Buffalo. Boy, that's one angle you can go. You can put it in a tank. And then there's been other guys that like, oh shit, wake up call. We just mentioned with Spencer Rattler being shipped out of Oklahoma and playing for South Carolina and playing pretty well. Some guys turn it on and some guys say this is bullshit and turn it off. So we'll see how that ends up turning out. That's interesting to me. That you're so ready to get rid of a guy that you're willing to trade him in division.
Right.
That blows me away.
Peter, I have a game.
Whoa. I love games.
This is called.
Why are you smiling? I don't like that you're already smiling.
No.
You're very nervous.
I just like games too. This is called Who Would You Rather Have?
Oh, I love these.
All right, let's go with number one. Would you rather have Brock Purdy or Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, Trevor Lawrence. It's not even close to me.
Not even close for you, huh?
It's not even close. I think if you put Trevor Lawrence, look, I might have said something incredibly stupid last week in saying that if Daniel Jones was on San Francisco, he might do as good as Brock Purdy. That might be a bit of a stretch. But I definitely think if you put Trevor Lawrence on San Francisco, he probably shreds the league. Like I think he kills it. So he's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's got a big arm. I'll take him. Absolutely.
If San Fran goes to the NFC Championship game and Jacksonville misses the playoffs, does your opinion differ?
Probably not. San Francisco is loaded. Like that team is loaded. And assuming that Trent Williams decides to play football, that whole thing with Trent Williams is interesting to me. He's got 3 years left on his contract.
I know.
Like you're a dick. Like you're a bit of a dick, dude. So last year of your contract, I get it. 3 years left? Nah, that's a dick move. But yeah, no, I wouldn't, because if you look at the talent on both teams, it's vastly different.
Jacksonville's no slouch, though, man. I don't
think they're a slouch, but I don't know that anybody in the league is as talented head to toe as San Francisco. Bro, I mean, two elite wide receivers, and they just drafted a couple new ones.
For now.
Well, and they just drafted a couple new ones, so maybe that's why it's for now. Maybe the top fantasy guy and one of the top running backs in the league, top tight end, one of the best defenses, like, yeah, dude. And one of the top offensive minds in the entire NFL. So give me Trevor.
I was going to say, sure. You got it. Peter, who would you rather have, Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff?
Well, what's interesting about this question is that in the Eagles offense, I'd rather have Jalen Hurts, and in the Detroit offense, I'd rather have Jared Goff. Jared Goff. So, oh man, that's a tough one.
God, at least I made up for the first question. You answered that too fast.
I'm thinking like long-term stability. I would probably go with Goff because I just look at running quarterbacks, and when the running, like I look at a Lamar Jackson, who I think is either 28 or 29 now, and you say, how much longer can he do what he does with his legs? And then when you can't, can you only do it with your arms or mostly with your arms? I've said this on this podcast. If you really look at his pro career, Jalen Hurts has had one good year, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic, but it's been one, and Goff has had more than one. So he's been to a Super Bowl, stat monster. Now he's loaded with talent too around him, just like Jalen Hurts is. So I think it would take Jared Goff for the long-term stability and his ability to throw the ball. I mean, I think he's a better passer. He's definitely a better passer. He's a statue, and Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal runner. So in the short term, I might go with Jalen Hurts. But if you're asking me for a franchise quarterback, it's really close, but I would probably take Jared Goff.
Coach, who would you rather have? Jordan Love or Tua Tagovailoa?
I would rather have Jordan Love, but we all need to be a little careful.
I agree.
Like the level of masturbating that is going on in this offseason about Jordan Love, and maybe I'm part of that. I don't know, but I was on the Jordan Love train while everybody else was killing the kid. So you can take that and do what you want with it, but be very careful. We've had 8, maybe 9 phenomenal games out of Jordan Love. He was probably PFF would probably rank him the number 1 quarterback at the end of the season, like for the second half of the season last year. But as I've said with CJ Stroud, be careful. These teams and these coaches all off season are watching every single play multiple fucking times, and they're going to find your weaknesses, and they're going to exploit those weaknesses. They're going to find your strengths, and they're going to find ways to take away those strengths, and you better have a backup pitch. You better have a curveball or a changeup. I always say, as Peyton Manning used to say all the time, when you go play Belichick, he's going to take away what you do great. What are you going to do next? These teams are all going to find ways to take away something from Jordan Love, something from Tua. They're going to figure that out with him too. What's your changeup pitch? So just be careful. But look, he's bigger. He's more athletic. He has a bigger arm. I'll take Jordan Love.
Last one.
I was never a big Tua guy. I just don't. I do not love undersized quarterbacks. I'm not trying to say they don't belong in the NFL. I'm not trying to say they can't be great players. I don't like it. I think it wears down over time quicker. So that's it.
And now he's a pussy, so it makes it worse.
Oh my God.
Sorry. Peter, last one. Who would you rather have? Sure. CJ Stroud, or I'm giving you the option of Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels?
Well, I like Jaden Daniels better than Caleb Williams, so I'm going to take Caleb Williams out of it. Oh, man, I saw so much that I liked from CJ. He looked like a pro quarterback last year. He was so comfortable. I got to go with CJ Stroud. I just haven't seen it yet with Jaden Daniels. But I'm telling you, the hype train is out there for Caleb Williams this year. And maybe it's fair. There's a lot of talent on that team. He's got a lot of support talent-wise around him and all that stuff. If you really want to see highlight clips this year, I think you're going to see some funky shit. I go back to that game last year that I texted you, and I was like, bro, do you realize this fucking guy just went for over 700 yards of total offense?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like that in college football in an SEC game. I think it was against Florida.
I think it was Ole Miss. I could be wrong.
Maybe it was. I don't know, but it was not like Vandy.
Yeah, Kentucky.
Blow it off.
1998 Kentucky.
It was an ESPN. Yeah, it was an ESPN primetime game. and they were going back and forth. So maybe it was Ole Miss, could have been. I don't remember, but it was a legit team. By the way,
I don't know if Florida had the offense for them to go back. I know. So by the way, next week, big college preview next week.
Yes. So I'm just saying, like, you're going to see some things from Jane Daniels. You're going to be like, holy shit, this kid is fucking electric, man. I'm telling you, he's really, really good. But C.J. Stroud, at least to this point, proven commodity. I got him. Until I see it. I need proof of concept. You know what I mean? Like, I know what I think I'm going to get from Jane Daniels, or maybe someday get from Jane Daniels. We kind of know.
But I'm glad that made you think a little bit. Like, you didn't automatically go straight like you.
No. Because I like Jane Daniels a lot. I think there's a lot of talent there. If you listen to the buzz coming out of Washington, they like him a lot.
Dude, they did him such a favor by getting Kingsbury, dude.
It's huge. It's huge. And you look at Caleb Williams and you say, well, he's electric and there's a lot of talent around him. You got a defensive head coach. And you got the offensive coordinator from Seattle. It doesn't, like, excite me that much. Like, I don't know. Like, hey, sure. That's great. Like, okay, that's nice. Cliff Kingsbury is, like, Mr. Offense. As a player he was, and as a coordinator he was, even as a head coach, they scored. It couldn't stop anybody, and it didn't really make great adjustments. But so, yeah, I think I really do believe you're gonna see some fun shit. I'm hard pressed to give you a record on Washington this year. There's so much new there. Everything's new, literally from the top to the bottom.
Yep.
But I think he's a really unique, fun player. Think of Lamar Jackson with excellent passing skills.
Yep.
It's just rarefied air here with this kid. I'm telling you.
Trivia time.
Let's hear it. Let me put some music in. You know what? Speaking of music, you know what segment we'll have coming up soon?
Picks.
Winners.
Cha-ching.
Winners.
Fishy. Little curveball here for you, Peter. We're going to the NFL for trivia this week.
I don't usually do NFL.
Maybe we'll try to switch up a little bit here. Let's not get stale. Maybe we'll go back and forth for a while. Who is the all-time leader in receiving touchdowns for the New York Football Giants? Is it Chris Callaway? Howdy, ho. Howdy, hey. Yes, sir. Chris Berman for trivia. Yep, receiving touchdown. Chris Callaway, Plexico Burris, Amani Toomer, or Mark Bavaro?
You had to throw the Bavaro thing in there, didn't you?
What do you think? This is a rookie fucking operation?
All right. So, like I always try to give you is my initial instincts, which usually stinks. For some reason, Amani Toomer, like when I heard you say Amani Toomer, like,
Until I said Mark Bavaro.
I feel like Burris wasn't there that long. Who the hell's the other guy?
Chris Callaway?
I don't think he's got a lot of time. I'm going to go with Amani Toomer.
You are 1 for 1.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? With the history of the New York Giants, he leads he leads it by like 9. He only has 54 receiving touchdowns, and he's got a commanding lead on it. Like,
who's in second?
Who was in second? Old school guy.
Okay, back in the day.
Like Homer Jones or some shit like that. Like
Homer was good, though.
I think he had like 47 or something. It was like, I'm like, holy shit, Amani's my guy, but like,
is that a real name? Homer Jones? Is that a real name? Or
I think so. No, I think it's true.
Oh, you think that? Okay.
I think Mac will vouch for me whenever he listens to this. So, all right, to your neck of the woods, let's go to the New York Jets. Don Maynard leads the Jets with 11,732 receiving yards. Who was in second? Wesley Walker, Wayne Corbett, Al Toon, Lavernius Coles.
All right. So before you gave me answers, before you gave me multiple choice, Wesley Walker was my answer. Al Toon and Wesley Walker. Al Toon played for a little while with Wesley Walker. Yards. Wayne Corbett from Garfield, New Jersey.
Played against my brother.
Cole was really good too.
And he played a long time.
I'm going to go. Look, I kept my instincts in the first one. I'll keep my instincts in the second one. Wesley Walker.
2 for 2.
Oh! Let's go.
NFL,
LFG.
All right, I'm going to do this one, and I'm not going to give you any options yet. And I want, like last week, I want to give you your first instinct.
Okay.
Remember what you did last week?
Yep.
Who is the all-time leader in receiving touchdowns for the Denver Broncos?
So, who was the dude that, oh my God, what the hell's his name? The kid from Florida, your quarterback from Florida.
Tebow.
Who did Tebow throw the touchdown to?
Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace.
All right, so that's my, off the top of my head, guess. Not even one of the choices?
He's on the list.
Okay, who else you got?
Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey, Shannon Sharp. I knew that was going to get.
Ed McCaffrey. Who's the other one?
Rod Smith. Not to be confused with Rod Stewart.
No. I'm gonna keep going with my instincts here. Demaryius Thomas.
DT? Man.
Not this time.
You just dismissed. No. Rod Smith.
Really?
Rod Smith had a good career, bro.
Damn. All right,
60,
not bad,
68 career touchdowns. I think DT's in second, by the way. So.
All right, so I'm not that far off.
This isn't hand grenades or horseshoes, my friend. This is NFL trivia.
All right, smartass. Maybe I got one for you here. You ready?
Yeah.
We're talking yards passing only, not touchdowns or quarterback rating or any of that shit. Yards passing only. Who is the all-time leading passer yards-wise for a lefty in the NFL?
Steve Young?
Is that your answer?
I'm trying to think of the lefties, man. It's not Chris Sims. It's not Tua yet. What other lefties are there? I know there's another guy.
Kenny Stabler.
Not
Boomer.
Boomer's a good one. Boomer's a good one, dude.
There was Michael Vick.
Stabler was playing like the running era, though. Vic, it's just passing yards, not rushing yards included?
Nope, just passing yards.
I'm going to stick with my guts and go Steve Young.
Steve Young was second. Approximately 33,000 yards, which to me is amazing because first half of his career, he didn't play.
Yeah, that's what I was. Well, Michael Vick was in jail for a while. Is it Stabler?
Stabler, I believe, was in third or fourth. Michael Vick was right there. Also, Boomer Esiason, number one overall. Yeah. 37,000 yards plus.
Why do I feel like he gets like dismissed with a lot of stuff?
Well, because he played for the Jets. That hurts.
Cardinals at the end too. That was in that. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Ew, that's gross. You remember what was it?
The game last week. The game.
Dude, that doesn't. I can't even do the math in my head on that one. I can't even put that helmet on him. That's fucked up. You just messed with me. I don't like that shit. That's just weird. I can't get it out of my head now. Fuck.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that one. It's good.
Yeah, 37,000 plus. Steve Young.
He has an MVP under his belt too, doesn't he, Boomer?
I'm not sure. He probably does.
I think he does. I think 87 or something like that. I think
went to a Super Bowl with Cincinnati. Dude, had a lot of good years with the Jets. Don't get me wrong.
On the radio show, it's the best. Like every time like Boomer starts acting up and he starts busting balls, they play the fucking Joe Montana. Hey, you want to go to Disney World after he beat Boomer in the Super Bowl? It's like, you dicks.
Oh, my God. It's so funny. By the way, guys, don't remember our poll question this week. Who's going to win the NFC South? Is it Carolina, Atlanta, Tampa, or New Orleans? You can find that poll on Spotify. And, of course, we appreciate you guys listening and checking in with us. What are you watching this weekend? Anything big going on?
Dude, right now, turn around. Rory's about to hit a ball off the rocks.
All right, I'm in commercial break, as you know.
Oh, my God.
So there's one thing we'll be watching, BMW.
Golf, last week of preseason football, and then we start getting cooked up. College football, 4 live games. They count right in the –
This weekend?
Georgia Tech, Florida State from Dublin. Noon
I'll be
Saturday.
watching that.
Kicking off the year.
Will Notre Dame be there just watching in the stands because it's Ireland? No?
Yeah, last year Dan Patrick's show went, and he goes, this year, yeah, it doesn't have the same buzz without Notre Dame being there and all the
it's a little different, yeah.
So it's like, we're not going to go this year.
It's a little different,
I believe Pat McAfee's taking his show out there. Probably be there live tomorrow. Oh, wow, Rory, great shot. And Yankees getting down to the home stretch here, about 5.5 weeks to go in the regular season. Starting to heat up there in the division race with the Orioles. So there's a bunch to watch.
Second best record in baseball right now.
Maybe trying to play some golf. Weekend's supposed to be pretty. Maybe some pool time winding down there as well. So a lot to do and a little time to do it in.
Sounds good to me. I'll definitely be watching golf as well. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Calisano. You've been listening to Bump and Run. We'll catch you guys next week.
Later.
Boom. Okay. So we're good.
Are we dead? Are we off air here, or are we still?
I can end this stream. By the way, before we end, I'll just throw this out there for anyone who kind of catch it. We have guests coming up. So we have Josh next week. Hopefully you can work it out because I think it's going to be on Thursday, and I don't know exactly what time. My guess is it's going to be later because I think he does his radio show until at least 7 or right over 6:55 probably.
Yeah.
So he might want to do it at 7. I'm going to have to remind him too. And then a guy who runs neighborhood picks, like neighborhood sports picks on YouTube's got like 800 and something subscribers.
Nice.
His name is John Antonucci. He's kind of a family friend, but I've never met him. Like my mom was friends with his aunt, and so that's how I knew the name, and we became friends online. And he has this pick site. So I told him, he was like, "Hey man, I see you do your podcast. I'd love to like chat with you guys." I said, "Why don't we do this?" Because I knew we had Josh coming on. I said, "Why don't we do this? Like maybe 2 weeks into the season, we can have him come on and like talk about like, hey, what are the surprises so far? What do you think so far of the first
I like it.
season?" And we'll force him to give us a couple picks, and we'll keep an eye on it.
I like it.
We got a couple guests coming up.
Beautiful.
I can end this so we can talk real quick.